So, we've now been playing Elden Ring for 3 sessions, and with having access to just this tiny sliver of the game, we now have so much more information to unpack. But most importantly, we now have a greater context of the world and its structure. And with that context, it turns out a lot of our initial theories may have been correct. So today we're going to break down a lot of the biggest discoveries we found in the network test regarding the lore of the game, and put a lot of new light into our theories of the lore prior to this experience. And let me just say to start out, just from the little that we've read so far, the lore for Elden Ring might be up there with Bloodborne in terms of complexity and overall coolness. For example, take a look at this. It appears that when people die in the lands between, their spirits become these jellyfish that we can see. And we don't know what causes this, but one likely assumption is that these jellyfish are the manifested spirits of the dead that have not filled a promise, likely in a state of purgatory, which is reinforced by the description of the item, Spirit Jellyfish Ashes, which reads as follows: floating phantom that illuminates its surroundings, seemingly the lingering spirit of a young girl on an eternal search for her sister with whom she promised to see the stars. From Software is no stranger to Eldritch lore, and from what I can tell so far, Elden Ring is going to be kind of a mixture between the style of lore that Dark Souls had, with its high fantasy elements, and skirting the line of cosmic horror just like Bloodborne. And also just like Bloodborne, there seems to be a style of cosmic worship in the lands between. So to start that discussion, let's talk about the Academy of Reya Lucaria, which is likely a place we'll visit on our journey in Elden Ring. If you pick the Enchanted Knight class, you might have learned a little bit about this if you took the time to read the item descriptions. The scholars of the Reya Lucaria Academy practice the art of glintstone sorcery. Glintstone, as we know so far, is a material by which a connection with the cosmos can be established, granting powers such as sorcery manifestation, gravity manipulation, and access to the vitality of the stars. The glintstone used for sorcery is combined with golden amber, giving it the qualities of both ancient life and residual life, and all the scholars of the Reya Lucarian Academy wear the Keralos mask, an ode to their forefather Keralos, who rejuvenated the glintstone study. However, that's as far as I want to go into this topic right now, so let's move on. The next major lore discovery from the network test can be found in the Crucible axe armor. We now know who this character is. This is Odavis, one of the 16 Crucible knights that served King Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. Now, in that sentence I just said are a multitude of lore implications if you've been keeping up with the theories here on the channel. The name King Godfrey was leaked a while back, but now that we know the character standing here is a servant of King Godfrey, it further reinforces the theory that the character in the painting here is indeed him. I made this video a long time ago, talking about my speculations regarding this painting, and it's almost eerie how accurate these predictions were. So take a look at this. Now, if you watch the other breakdowns, you know that we covered this painting of the king almost to nauseam, and if you've been keeping up with Elden Ring leaks for a long time, you know this isn't the first time we've seen him. One of the first major leaks we got for Elden Ring was this concept art. And if you look at the faces, we know that this giant snake monster in the concept art is this king. But the strangeness doesn't stop there. If you look closely at the painting on the left, you can see the snake tails wrapping around the king's arm, and many tiny snakes crawling up from the bottom. So it's clear that the snake monster is some type of other form of this king. But it goes even deeper. On the day the trailer dropped, when I went back through the trailer to try to get a screenshot of this painting, I came across something kind of weird. In the official trailer, the snakes are edited out of the painting. The picture on the left is from the official Elden Ring website and is a direct screen capture of in-game footage. So we know that this edit is intentional, and we know that the power of the runes is what distorted the demigods into these eldritch monsters, but at least they still have some semblance of humanity. And I know I said earlier I'm not going to read into early concept art, but I'm going to read into this early concept art. If we look at this character who we know is a demigod, we saw him in the 2019 trailer fastening the arms onto himself, so it was his choice to become this distorted. All other potential demigods in the trailer still retain their humanoid figures, that are both functional and recognizable. So now let's contrast this with the king. The distortion that happens to the king looks neither functional nor recognizable. This form does not emanate power at all. We can see that the limbs attached to the snakes are thin and bony, and it looks like the distortion was not of his choosing. And if you look closely at all the little red things, you can see that it's actually people attached to him. So it looks like he got this power the same as the others. However, it looks like his mutation was much worse. So why do I think this guy is the final boss? Well, if we look at all the lore, there's absolutely no mention of the king whatsoever whatsoever, and we can see this painting featuring him so prominently. Now to me, that gives off the idea that he's away from the kingdom. I don't think all these demigods would be squabbling over territory if there was a king involved. So then, where could he be? We know he has the mutation that is a result of being in possession of one of the great runes. However, his mutation looks much worse than the others, perhaps as a result of a greater power than the others. So naturally, something that would be more powerful than the shards themselves would be the full remaining Elden Ring. So perhaps he's the final guardian of the Elden Ring, but this is just an idea to me. Well, that idea was spot on. Take a look at this description of the Crucible Axe helm. Helm of one of the 16 ancient knights who served Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. The axe ornamentation is of Knight Odavis' mark, displayed also by his men. The conduits that cover this armor seethe with the power of life's crucible, that which coursed through the Erdtree in its primordial form. So that means if King Godfrey is indeed an Elden Lord, that would require that he be in the Erdtree and make contact with the Elden Ring. However, that's not all the evidence we have for this. Thanks to this line from Melina, we now know that our mission is taking us inside the Erdtree to the Elden Ring, and that there were others there before us.
Me? I'm searching for my purpose, given to me by my mother inside the Erdtree, long ago, for the reason that I yet live, burned and bodiless. There is something for which I must apologize. I've acted the Finger Maiden, yet can offer no guidance. I am no maiden. My purpose was long ago lost. To aid you in your search for the Elden Ring. You need only take me with you to the foot of the Erdtree.
So I think you get the point now. And this opens up new questions about Melina, and further reinforces the idea that she is a daughter of Queen Marika. And only recently we found out that Queen Marika is the woman that we can see in the 2019 trailer, who was inside the Erdtree, and presumably present at the shattering of the Elden Ring. So now we have to ask, was Melina also there when the ring was shattered? Is that what caused her to become burned and bodiless? The same power that distorted King Godfrey into this snake monstrosity. And it makes me extremely curious as to what Queen Marika is going to look like in her post-shattering form. But that's where I want to leave it today. We have a lot more to get through, including the Golden Order, the story of Godric, the Hands of the Fell Omen, and the history of the ancient dragons. So be on the lookout for those videos coming soon. But as for now, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're new around here, and go take a look through my past videos if you want to get into more speculation about the lore of Elden Ring. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.